Well, thank you everyone for being here. We are here to talk a little bit. I will give a quick overview of Make Music Matter, but then really to share a brand new hot off the presses tool that we have created to help use music move us through some of these more stressful and uncertain times. Just a quick overview of what we're going to do, some introductions. I do have a co-presenter, co-facilitator here, Karin Zinter. She is, yeah, I'll get into an introduction in a second, and then we'll go over a quick overview of Make Music Matter, and then the tool, which is known as Music Reconnects Us, and then we'll have time at the end for some Q&A as well. Some quick introductions. As I mentioned, Karin Zinter is a MAPP alum as well. What I know of her, I know she is an apiary, and I was actually just learning that she is also a teacher, which means she is a beekeeper extraordinaire and a people keeper extraordinaire. She'll be watching the chat boxes and any of the Q&A sections just to make sure I don't miss anyone. I'm really not sure how to use the technology all that well, so she's here to help support me so I don't miss any of you guys and what you're asking. Myself, I am Jaime Booth Jenkins. I am a behavior change and addiction specialist. I am a coach and a writer. Currently, I am completing a master's in science in the psychology and neuroscience of mental health at King's College in London. Thankfully, it is done online, so I'm quite used to learning in that format. And I graduated from MAPP in 2010. And about the same time that I was graduating from MAPP, I started working and volunteering for an organization that at that time was called Song for Africa. Song for Africa has evolved over the last 10 years, and I have really evolved along with it. It is now known as Make Music Matter, and I am talking to you today in my capacity as the chair of the board of directors. And there's no time to just kind of get into it. So throughout this, if you do have questions, please feel free to pop in. Karin, if you think that it's something that is worth jumping in and interrupting, please go ahead and do so. Yeah, anytime. So I'm going to start way back with Plato and Aristotle. They were two of the first Greek philosophers to really start talking about music and its role in human life and its purpose and its meaning and what we as humans use music for. For those of you interested in positive psychology, which I'm guessing some of you here are, Plato and Aristotle may sound familiar because it is something that Marty talks about, or sorry, Dr. Seligman talks a lot about, and really served as some of the beginnings of the eudaimonic well-being and positive psychology as it exists today. Something that Marty used to talk a lot about during our class time together was something that he would call man as music. And that phrase always really gripped me throughout my time. And it fascinated me because as I was working through MAPP, I was also working with Song for Africa and seeing the power that music had in people's lives. And for me, this quote from Plato really sums it up. And it is, music and rhythm find their way into the secret places of the soul. And I think that, especially in times right now and in stressful times, we need to sometimes get in touch with some of those deeper places in our soul. And music can really act as a way of getting there in a safe way. So I've kind of expanded the idea of man as music and kind of put it more in a human terms. For me, man or human as music really is summed up by saying music heals. It heals our minds, it heals our bodies, it heals our souls, and it has the power to heal our communities, and it has our power to heal us globally as well. for us at Make Music Matter, we really believe in the power of music to heal. And how we go about proving and showing that is through a really unique music therapy tool known as healing in harmony. So I'll give an overview of what healing in harmony is, and as well our sister product. Oh, I think I just got signed out. Am I still there?
You're still there.
Oh, okay. Weird. It just popped up saying that my account has been signed out, but we'll just carry on without it. So Healing in Harmony is our flagship program, and I will give a quick overview of what it does, kind of as an idea of how this tool that I'll be presenting in a moment came to be. So Healing in Harmony is a cognitive behavioral therapy that we do as part of a holistic healing model. So we don't ever go into a place and stand alone. We work with local capacity and with local programs and local partners that are already running programming all around the world. We're in a bunch of different communities and a bunch of different countries around the world, but there is a core that stays the same. And that core is that cohorts are formed of people who have been through similar experiences. So in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where we started, that generally is women who have been through some gender-based violence and who are recovering physically at the Panzi Hospital in the Democratic Republic of Congo. In Turkey, we are working with children who have disabilities and who are experiencing life within refugee camps and that challenge. Basically, we put people together who have been through experiences that are traumatic in some way and have impacted them, and we play a part of their healing journey. How we do that is by pairing a specially trained psychologist and a music producer in order to help the participants really get in touch with their emotions and begin to rewrite the story of the trauma that has happened to them. The music producer adds music and allows them to really focus on the music writing process, while the psychologist monitors their mental health and well-being and really helps them in a safe, supported way get in touch with some of those deeper emotions, like Plato said, some of those crevices of our soul. The music is then recorded, mixed, and mastered by industry professionals who donate their time and talents to taking those songs and making them no different than any of the songs that you hear on your radio today. And that is one of the differentiating factors of Make Music Matter, is that we really consider our participants as artists, true artists, and not just patients. They are signed to our record label, which is Artists for Artists Publishing and Recording. And then once they've gone through our program and have their songs in a format that is mixed, recorded, and put out on local radio, they also perform their music in community concerts and help to battle some stigma and reconnect their communities. So not only are they artists in the fact that they are taking their emotions and transforming that into a powerful song, rewriting their narrative for themselves in their own strength, but they're going out into the community and really owning their role as an artist and saying, here's my story. It may connect with some other people, and here's how I've overcome it. And it ends up being quite a joyous experience at these community concerts. Another layer to that is through a partnership that we have with Warner Music Canada. All of their music is put on and available on all streaming devices. So however you consume your music today, whether it is in Spotify or on Apple Music, you can access these artists and their music. So you can find it and connect to it in your own way. We've had some early research coming back from some of our earlier sites. A paper is going through the long, challenging academic peer approval process, but we expect that paper to be out later today, and it will show some incredibly statistically significant impacts that our program has had on the symptoms of depression, anxiety, and PTSD. This will join a plethora of research that kind of speaks to the power that music has in our life and has not only mentally and emotionally, but now physically and in a cultural way. So we're seeing music really coming through in this time of uncertainty in a lot of different ways. And so how we wanted to respond to that was we went back to our team and said, here's what we value. We value music as a way of people dealing with some very difficult things. Now, we can't ethically or logistically go out and perform the healing and harmony program with everybody. But what we can do is we can figure out something. We can create a tool that's something that people can use in their own homes while they're being socially isolated that will help guide them through our process of using music to help deal and to help get into some of those crevasses of our souls. And Justin is our lead therapist and lead trainer, and he is based in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and he really led the creation of this tool. And this is a quote from him. I, for some reason, still have a pop-up. Oh, maybe if I hit that. This is a quote from him, and I can't read it for you guys because it's covered up for me, but I might give you just a second to read it and see what you feel. The core of this is how we feel at Make Music Matter, is that no matter what you're feeling when you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, music can really help to elevate our mood, motivate us, but at the same time, help us to relax. And there is a lot of evidence that would support that claim. So in response to what people are currently feeling around the world, this is a global thing. And that's the nice thing about music, is that music is global. There isn't a culture that doesn't have music within it. So this is our response and our tool that we want to give everyone to use by yourself, to use with your family, to use across a socially distance appropriate 6 feet. We just want you to use this. Take this as a tool that you can use and adapt as you see fit. I'm going to run us through this tool. It is 6 steps that we can use in these times that may offer you some relief. So I'm going to run through it. Again, this launched yesterday, so this is pretty much my first time running through it. But that's what we're all here for, is to be vulnerable and to do anything we can. So step 1 would be to choose a track. We have on our website, and you can see it listed there, and I will also throw it up in the chat box when I can access it again. I will throw up the website, and we have some tracks that were produced by our producer Jojo, who is also within the Democratic Republic of Congo. He put together some music that can capture, sorry, I have a screaming child in the background as well, that can capture different emotions that we may be feeling at this time. Some of the tracks may resonate with you, others may not. They're aimed to give a wide range of emotional feeling that mimics the range of emotions that people may be feeling right now. Some people may be craving a peaceful track that allows them to kind of zen out. Others may really want a sad and mournful track to let them get in touch with some of those sadder, mournful feelings that they're feeling. Others may really want something more energetic to pull them out, to help bring them through to the other side. Step 2, and I'm going to be taking us through this step 1 and step 2 in just a second. But before I play the track, I just want to tell you what I'm going to be doing when we play the track. The track lasts for 1 minute and 42 seconds. That's not a long period of time, but it can feel like a long period of time when you're listening to something that you haven't really heard before and you're not sure what you're supposed to do. That's okay. The idea is to listen to a track over and over and over again to get comfortable with it. See what comes up for you. Breathe through it. Don't grab on to any of those thoughts that come through. Practice some mindfulness and allow them to go through. So as I play this track, I'm going to play it twice in total. So it will be about 4 minutes total of your time. Really see what comes up for you. This is a track that I picked. It took me all of them to pick this one. So feel free to close your eyes, see what comes up for you. Just try to listen as best you can. So, welcome back. I hope that worked for everybody.
Amy, if you're going to play it again, our audio is a little bit spotty during the recording.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know. The next one, thank you. I appreciate that. I'll try to see what I can do. So I hope you kind of got into a place where you could see where that music was taking you, with whether it was embodied within your body, where you could feel the music, whether it was what thoughts were going through your mind, whether it was, oh, I'm annoyed that this sound is spotty. That's all okay. I think the point at this time is to just kind of really feel what the music is doing for you. And again, there are a number of different tracks that you can go through until you find one that really works and speaks to you. So step 3 is where we start asking you to maybe step outside of your comfort zone. This is where we ask you to start adding your voice to the track. So it doesn't have to start with having a fully thought out lyric or having a fully formed song or even having any talent. And you will see in a moment that I have no talent when it comes to music. But what this does is allows you to kind of externalize some of those internal things that you're feeling. For us, right now, I'm only going to probably do step 3, where we begin to mimic the sounds. So in order to get you comfortable just verbalizing, and for some people who have been through a difficult experience, or when we're in a time of uncertainty, or when we're feeling a lot of different emotions, it can be very, very difficult to put that into words. So put it into a sound first. Get your body and your mind used to it coming out. That can help you really find your voice. So that's step 3. And then in step 4, start to really see what words are coming up for you as you're observing them, as they're floating through your mind. Which ones do you want to grab and pull down? Which ones do you want to see a little bit closer? Which ones are really resonating for you? Not every thought and feeling we have is true or useful. So really use this time and use the music to examine them in a really disconnected way. Connect with the music and see what that brings up for you. So just to throw myself out of the comfort zone with everybody, and to show that you can do it. If I can do it with X number of people on a webinar, you guys can do it at home by yourself, to really allow some of that to start coming out. Da, 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 boo, dee, da, 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 dee, da. So that was a quick introduction to how you can start getting some of those sounds out. To be honest, feeling anxious while doing this is difficult. Just getting those tones and sounds out automatically made me feel better. It may feel uncomfortable and awkward at first. Laugh at yourself, have a little fun, find some kid-like joy, and just let it out. Let it go, as my daughter's favorite song would say. Step 5 and 6 is something that we find helpful for a lot of people. This is maybe stepping even further outside of your comfort zone. For others, maybe some that may lie on the further extroverted side of the spectrum, who are dying to get themselves out there again. Record yourself as you sing your song, and we will offer you some tips in order to how to do that best, and to use some of our best practices. But allow yourself to record yourself. Even if it's only for you, even if it's only for you to tap into the next time to say, oh, what was that song that I made? How was I feeling? How can I get back into those feelings? How can I get away from what I'm feeling now in a safe and healthy way? We found that this is a really interesting time for our artists, because hearing themselves in their recording allows them to really see themselves as that artist. It's kind of that transition point where they break out of seeing themselves as somebody who's been through an experience and now as an artist. So I'm hoping that maybe in some small way, this tool can help mimic that for you. We are all asking as well to help build community, and if you are feeling brave enough and if you feel called to, we are asking people to share their videos. I will be recording one as soon as I can, in order to break the socially awkward ice, as we say. And we ask just that you tag Music Reconnects Us or Make Music Matter, so that we can kind of start building a community similar to what we've seen with some of the different choirs, the people singing in the streets in Italy, just other ways of connecting through music. So this is, I know I may have moved through that quite quickly, but this is some of our tips for recording your songs. All of this is available not only on our website, but on all of our social medias as well. So if you want to see these in more detail, to pause to really get into the tracks or get into the exercise, these are some of the tips. And here's some of our social media handles, but I will also share that again. And we can be found probably easiest on our website, makemusicmatter.org. So that was really quick. Again, thank you so much for coming. I'm going to open it up to question and answer. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that I can maybe see some of you and figure out how to interact with you instead of just feeling like I'm talking to nothing right now. Aha, I can open the chat now. Hello. I'm going to open it up. Okay.
We did have a question about where to find the recordings, but we worked that out in the chat box already, so we found them on the website.
You guys are absolutely amazing. I have to say that this community and everybody that comes along with it are incredible. So thank you for looking after that. It was really weird and I couldn't see anything. Hi, what within listening to music causes shifts in well-being? There's a couple different things, and I mean, I could probably do a whole webinar on that, but if I talk just from a neuroscience perspective, music, if you look at the brain listening to music in an MRI, and I can probably find some studies that would show that, music really reconnects us as people, but it reconnects all parts of our brain. So one of the two parts of the brain that tend not to talk to each other a lot are the amygdala, which is the center of a lot of our emotions, and the prefrontal cortex, which is kind of that executive control part of our brain. They have like a tenuous relationship a little bit. I like to think of the amygdala kind of as the emotional teenager and the prefrontal cortex as a like strict parent coming in. What music does is reconnects that so that you can gain a better cognitive understanding of some of those deeper emotions. That would be one of my theories as to what the connection is between listening to music and shifts in well-being. Another, I think, would have to do with that connection piece. So two studies came out, or it was one study, but two really interesting findings about how listening to music connects us with our emotions and with other people. So listening to what we're listening to, in particular when it comes to sad music, think about breakup music and how often people listen to Adele. That draws us to let other people know that they've had that experience too. I don't have to be as alone in my sadness because Adele's down here with me, if that makes sense. Caveat to that is if you do find yourself not feeling better listening to sad music, that could be a sign that you're kind of sliding into more rumination depression, and could be a sign to reach out for further help. If that answers your question. Cool. Ooh, new message. Awesome. Oh, there's a Q&A in there. Do you use musical therapy? From Maddie. As a poet, I love using music in my daily routines as a professional, but as social connection within the community. It's an interesting thing because it's a form of music therapy. I don't know if a musical therapist would necessarily agree. What I like to call it and what I like to see it as is a cognitive behavioral therapy. So within some of those sessions, they are starting to question some of their thoughts and their emotions around that thought. So there is some of that process happening, but it's happening in a very targeted and very specific way. And I think adding in the external non-therapist of the music producer adds an element that may take it away from traditional therapy, but it's more of making it a tool. So kind of like you would do as a poet, you use it, but I don't know if you'd necessarily call it a therapy, if that makes sense. I don't know if Maddie's still there. Have you worked with any music therapists? Yes, we had on our board during the development of the Healing and Harmony program, we consulted with music therapists and are definitely open to working with more. Basically, we rely on local capacity and local rules. So when we go into a country, we're not bringing a bunch of Canadian therapists or psychologists or music producers. We are bringing in local capacity. So we hired Justin because he was a psychologist from the DRC when we were starting to work in there. So we rely on the local capacity, and if that happens to be a music therapist in that area, that is a benefit for sure. Oh, and Linda, yes, the recording, sorry, I did speak fast and maybe was a little all over the place, but there will be a recording of the talk available on the MAPP alumni YouTube channel. I'm not 100% sure where that is, but I think if you just go to YouTube and typed in UPenn MAPP alumni. And thank you. Thank you. You are great as well. I'll just check the Q&A and see if anybody else has any other questions. Perfect. Thank you, Maddie. Okay. Well, if there's no other questions, I am always available. You can find my contact info on makemusicmatter.org. Feel free to reach out with any thoughts, questions. We're always looking for new and great ideas or new people to work with. So thank you all for coming to my very first online webinar. I appreciate you guys. And thank you, a special thank you to Karen, my technological assistant. I wouldn't have felt comfortable in my black hole of presenting mode if I didn't know you were there looking after everybody.